In France, the death of the far-right activist Quentin Duranc continues to send ripples across the French political spectrum. The country is now holding up for a memorial rally in the city of Lyon where the activist was killed. The rally was drawn 3,200 protesters from the farthest fringes of Europe's radical right. The protesters marched en masse, calling for justice for Duranc. However, his own family will be giving the rally a miss.
Comme ça, à 10 mètres du camion, c'est très bien. Allez, on reprend. Allez, on avance.
Now, just ahead of the rally, the French President Emmanuel Macron called for the people to maintain calm. Lyon will be placed under high security alert, and despite the city's far-left mayor calling for a ban on the rally.
The Prime Minister, like the Interior Minister, will be vigilant to ensure that things proceed as smoothly as possible. I believe this is a moment for reflection and respect for our young compatriot who was killed, for his family and loved ones. That must come first. And then it is a moment that calls for rigor and responsibility. At the start of next week, I will hold a meeting with the Prime Minister and the relevant ministers to take full stock of all violent action groups currently operating and that have links with political parties, whichever they may be. Now everyone must act responsibly.
Now, Macron has announced that his government will hold a meeting next week to discuss the so-called violent action groups following the fatal beating of Quentin Duranc. The incident has sparked a political firestorm between the French left and the right ahead of the 2027 presidential election. His death also has become the subject of a political tussle between the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and the French President Macron. Meloni, a conservative, has called the killing of Duranc as a wound for all of Europe. The Macron was quick to fire back. He's asked the Italian Prime Minister to stay in her own lane and not be bothered by the internal affairs of another country. The two have often sparred on an array of different issues concerning Europe, ranging from the conflict in Ukraine to trade and policy. A voluntary homicide investigation has now been launched in France with about 11 people detained in connection with the killing of one of those who was detained as reportedly an assistant to a hard-left member of the French Parliament. The case has since fueled tensions in pole-bound France, and the country is now gearing up for the municipal elections in March and also a presidential race in 2027.
Non, bon, c'est jamais, c'est vrai, ça je comprends.